What's up? What's up? Hey Gunner. No, I have a haircut now, so my hair is nice and short now. Do 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 do. So we have another streaming night. Do some designing tonight. Should be fun. Really wanted to stream last night, but yeah, was not in the cards. Got home a little too late from my daughter's show. So tonight we will be doing something interesting, I think. So we'll give it a minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, well, see who shows up. But tonight, the thing we're designing around is a kitchen glove. This is kind of a weird one, but hey, it's what I need to work on. So, my wife uses these gloves for washing dishes. And the issue is that they get wet on the inside and then they get mildewy and they get gross. So, what I want to do is I want to design some type of mount or just a little stand, I guess, for these to get onto. So kind of can cuff it up and then something for these just to sit on like so, so that they can dry, basically. It's a weird thing for the house, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to design because I have no idea how I'm going to do this. Really, not at all, honestly. I have an idea of what I want to do, but how to make that happen in 3D space, I really don't. I really don't know. So, yeah. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get some measurements of the glove. They're all about the same size. So just something generally speaking, doesn't have to be like perfect fit, but something generally to keep this open. I am debating on having a fan be able to mount on the bottom of it. I think that might be like Gen 2, but Gen 1 right now is just making two type of pyramid cone shaped stands that these can sit on so they can dry. It has to be mostly open air, obviously, not much filament, so that air can get under these. Yeah, I really don't know. So let's grab a tape measure here, or not a tape measure. I got a little ruler here somewhere. Here's my wee ruler. And let's try and figure out this deal. So I think the bottom of like 90 will be good. So we're gonna go ahead and just do 90 mil to start out with. Make that construction line because I have no idea if I want the base to be that or what, but I know the base needs to be roughly 90 mil in the middle there. Then we want this to be how tall? 150, 170-ish, I guess. So actually let's just do that. So 170. So this is my build envelope. Right. Why did that go on the wrong plane? Top. Here. Circle of 90. Okay. Hey, Aaron, how's it doing? And then 170. All right, that's my build envelope. So it's about how big I want it to be. Now, how do I make it that? I think the bottom should be more straight, not so much going in, because this right here, the wrist part, I don't even know. Put my hand in it there. That's like 70, 60 maybe. It's like 60 at the wrist, and that's about, I don't know, call that 90 off the bottom. So let's Let's extrude this 90. Okay, so that's going to be bottom rough shape area. We have to skeletonize this somehow. And then from here up, we need to go down to 60-ish. Right, is that what I said? If I look at it this way, 60-ish. Yeah, 60-ish. I make the bottom a little bit bigger, maybe. So I'm going to do this as 110. Okay. And then on here, make this 60. We'll have this. How tall is this one? Did I make that? I made that 90. So this is a lot smaller. So we can make this, what did I say, it was 90 and 70, so 80. Okay, and then this we just chamfer out the whole way. No, not that one. Well, of course, that's not going to work. I don't know. So yeah, I'm just trying to sketch this out in my head, see how I want to do this. Let's switch over here to this. All right. So I'm looking at 110 of the base. I could make it as be a couple pieces where I do a ring at the bottom, a ring at the top, and then make some kind of arms that kind of press fit or glue on. That might work. That might be better. Hello, Leve. I have no idea what you're talking about. Or Leva. Get rid of that. If I do this as 110, and then we do an offset of 10, okay? Extrude this up 5 mil. So we've got our bottom base of this thing. I have no idea what you're talking about still, like. So if that's the, I guess that could be like the middle ring there, and then figuring out some type of, again, because if I have something go up to like a circle there that intersects this that comes down, kind of like that, I could extrude this as a join, and then if I do a, where is it at? What am I looking for here? I'm looking for the circular pattern of, oh, that's what we're going to do. We're going to extrude this 5 mil as a new body. And now we can do a pattern, circular pattern. Let's pick body. Let's pick this body. The axis is going to be that. And we're going to do 4 just because I think that'll end up being better. Better for it. Okay. And then I need a circle up here-ish. So let's go ahead and do a offset plane. We'll start with that, and we'll go up to like, oh, there looks good. Okay, and then we're gonna do a create a sketch here. And we just need to make sure that it can hit all of those. I can more than hit it. And then we do an offset. Actually, that's probably too big. No, maybe not. Let's see what a 10 mil offset looks like. Oops. Negative. Okay, that. And if we extrude this, -5. It's still pretty much on the outside there. I don't like that. So, can we edit the sketch? Dimensions of that. Okay, let's make this 80 or 70. And then, no, it's too small. Dimensions of this, 70. And if we offset outwards 5 mil, if we extrude that, that's better. If we do this as a new body there, I think I want that to be inside though, instead of outside. Well, because I have no idea what the heck you're talking about, bro. I don't know what you're babbling on about in chat there. Oh, Mom's watching from the train, coming back from New York. So I like how these outer ones, I could print these as separate pieces, and again, I could make them kind of inset there. They would just be push to fit. I'd have to edit the offsets a bit, but that'd be push to fit. So let's leave that offset plane there. I'm going to go before this, before that. Let's turn that back on. Actually, let's get rid of that and that. So we're going to extrude this -5.3. Nope, we just want to do 5.3. 5.3. Or if I want it to be truly centered to that, I need to do 2 sides. This is going to be 2.65 and 2.65, like that. Okay, and then we want to extrude this 2.6. We're going to do 2 sides and this one as 2.6. That is going to be a new body. And we're going to hide that body. We're going to do this one more time. We're going to do 2 sides, 2.65, 2.65, that as a new body. Now we're going to rotate that, and then we'll end up subtracting that from the other. I think that's how we're going to do it. So subtract it from the other pieces. So let's create the pattern, circular pattern. Oh, wait, I could do the feature. Oh, wait, I could do it that way. Yeah, that. And axis is that. That would be 4. Is that not going to work? Oh, it did work. Oh, yes, that's what I can do. So I can get rid of that body. Turn this one on. Now I can create a pattern, circular pattern. We're going to do body, this body, select the axis, center axis, 4, enter. And there we have all those bodies. Aha, that worked out quite well. All right, so now we need to create a sketch. Wait, no. Show me that plane. Create a sketch on that plane. If I want this to go to the inside of that, let's call it there, and then we're going to do an offset of this. I want the whole thing to be there in that. Okay. I need this to be 70. And then this to be 4. Is that how I want that to be? Because I have it just kind of going in there a little bit. It's like halfway in there. Or I want to do the other way, because right now I'm notching out the circle. I don't think that's the right thing. I think I need to notch out the pillars. So the pillars are gluing onto it. Because it's going to be really hard to figure out the height of those. Unless I make some type of feature on here to be able to identify where that height mark is at. Which I could do with the small like emboss feature to it. It's an interesting issue to deal with. What in the world should I do with that? I think I'll go with the emboss route. And that is still the wrong way. So make this 65. Let's make this like 62. And that's going in almost halfway. So make that 5. Now if I do this, that's how much is going to be holding on to it that way. So I could, see, I think this way is actually better to do it like this. If I do 2 sides, and I do this as 2.5. Yeah, because then that kind of like greps onto it. I think that's going to end up being better. So if we do this 2.6 and 2.65, 6.5, just allow for expansion. And then we turn this sketch back on, and then we extrude 2.5. We're going to do 2 sides, and do this as 2.5. And this is going to be a new body. Like that. Hey, Viking. Well, keying both of them is my it's a little bit of my issue there, Aaron, because I'm not sure. I can figure out how to key one of them, but I'm not quite sure how to key both of them. Because like if I turn that off, we can see that's not keyed, but the bottom is keyed. So I think this will end up working better. So the bottom is keyed. So okay, so that's like the base, it's the strong part. They're gonna fit inside of it and glue in. And then that sets where those are supposed to be. And then all I have to do is slide up the ring, or slide the ring into these keys like that. I think keying one and the other, I think that's going to be the better way to go with this. I think that will end up being better. Honestly, I think keying one then the other. Instead of trying to figure out how to key both, I'm trying to keep this simple and fairly quick and dirty design. Let's go to like, it's the third one up right there. Okay. I just need to cut these feet flat. Like that. There, now the feet are flat. I also don't know how good this angle is going to be. I think honestly my angle is too, my angle might end up being too sharp. Because if I look at, if I inspect between there and there, so it's 60 mil at the top there. I guess that's not bad. It's 60 mil across at the top. It's a 34-degree angle. It should be all right. I mean, really, the only way to tell is to print this out and kind of see how it goes with that. I'll move that over there. Sorry. Let's Fusion doesn't give you very many color choices. There. Now that kind of just helps represent each of the different bodies that this is. I mean, technically, I only need to print this, the single body 4 times because it's the same one, and then these two separately. And they're not that big, which is another consideration of just how big they are. And then obviously not printing this in one because that would just be a whole ton of support and just be silly. And then I'm not sure if I keep these on up the top or not, or whether I just lop these off shortly at the top of this. But I think I'm just gonna have to print it and see how that ends up going. It's a very weird thing to make something for, but again, I normally do this stuff. I want to say on a daily basis, but fair enough. There's an option to inspect menu that will do that for you. And the inspect menu. What am I looking for? The section analysis? Is that what you mean, Aaron? To see the intersecting of them? So we can see there's my clearance. It's tight, but it should be okay. Curvature analysis. Ooh, no, I don't want that. I don't want that either. I don't know what you mean, Aaron. No. I wonder if I can do center of mass for everything. Right there in the middle. I mean, I can print this lower one heavier, which I'll probably end up doing. Print this bottom one with a higher infill, and that way it will be able to make sure that it stays weighted down, because this is really, really light. Oh, it adds unique to the components. Oh, okay. Oh, color cycle toggling. Oh, I don't have multiple components. Shoot, how do you turn that off now? Okay, there we go. Yeah, because I didn't make these all different components. They're all the same components. Yeah, I think that will be a good first try at least. kind of see how it goes from there. I probably could have made the angle a little less steep, but I just totally eyeballed 34 degrees. Seemed right. I need to get one of those angle finding doohickeys, because that would be so much easier to like look at something and figure out what the angle should be. Because sadly I don't have my protractor laying around anymore. Well, that was easier than last week, I can say. But I'll give you guys an update on last week. So last week, if you were here, I designed some mounts for Lego train tracks, and I have a single track here. And the goal is it sits in there like this. It's hard to see. And then it mounts against the wall like that. So my first 2 attempts were too tight. Very, very close in their tolerance, but just a little too tight. No matter kind of what I did, I could not get them to, without a ton of force, really get into these. And I didn't want to have a ton of force on it to be able to do it. So I finally figured out a successful one, and it holds it. Some of them are a little looser than others, which I guess it just came down to when I was cleaning out support, if I took off a little bit too much than I shouldn't have. But for most of them, they are just a barely snug fit, enough to hold it upside down like that, which is great because it's going to be holding it right set up like this on the wall. So I was going to go out this past weekend and buy the wood for that, because what I decided I'm going to do is, since our walls are concrete, I'm going to get a I think I measured what I measured out to be 1.4 by 1 meter by 1.5 meter long piece of plywood, I don't know, 1/2 inches thick, that I'm going to draw on so that I can get all these in the exact right place so that the tracks is 100% level. That's really the big thing right now, is make sure the track is level. Once all of that is on there, I'm going to then mount the big piece of plywood onto the wall, just using 4 heavy-duty wall anchors into the concrete, because otherwise I'd be drilling like for 60 of these mounts, which is way, way too many. And that's way too many holes, and that would take me an absolute day to drill 60 holes in concrete very near each other. But the wood will give me a little bit of wiggle room because it's wood, it's not concrete. So I think that'll be pretty good. Hey, Jerry, thank you. Yep, I do enjoy having a bit of extra space around now. Definitely makes life a lot easier to take on projects. I have a big workbench now. I love that. But yeah, so these worked out pretty good. Again, some of them are just slightly looser. This one is slightly, actually that one is looser. It felt tighter at first going in, but that's okay because the weight is all distributed in a downward direction on these. So as long as they all sit in there as they should, and they're all level to each other, it shouldn't be a problem. That's gonna be the biggest thing, is trying to mount all of these at the same exact point on the board, because there's so many ways that it could go slightly off kilter. But yeah, so that definitely ended up working out well for me. I think I'm going to go ahead and export these bodies. So I just need that one, and that one. I have to do them all individually, don't I? Of course I do. Can you get off of that? Why is Fusion being so weird all of a sudden? So we're going to save as mesh. And we're going to call this bottom, so we'll call it gloves bottom ring. Save as mesh. Gloves top ring. And then save as mesh. Okay. Gloves rail times 4. I know to print that 4 times. And then get Prusa slicer up here. I have to say, it was like maybe 15, 20 minutes to design that up for our first run. Kind of see how it goes. There it is. So I'll move over to you guys so you can see everything happen here. So we're doing it on Megatron. We're doing Ziltech PETG. 0.2 is fine. And then those on there. This guy, need a place on that face. 2, 3, 4. So I can do this. I wish that Proof Slicer would take into account internal space, but it doesn't. So we're going to do all of these. 3 perimeters is more than enough. I wouldn't call it intricate gunner, but I mean it's something, man. My only issue is these are going to be pretty thin on that part right there, and that could end up being a problem for how thin these are. I might need to make those spars a bit thicker, because down here it's not much material there. So this guy here, we want to adjust the infill. And we want this one to be 50% of adaptive cubic is fine. The rest of these 10% is fine. What's that going to look like? Just trying to make that top one a little bit, or the bottom one a little bit heavier. Yeah, because I mean, let's look how, I mean, that's 2 lines right there. That's pretty thin. That's pretty thin right there. But again, this is, I mean, the weight it's holding, I mean, we're talking, you know, a couple ounces, and these gloves are just going to kind of sit on here like this. So I guess we'll find out. Again, I think the angle is going to be a little too sharp. I think I should have made the angle a little more shallow. But we'll kind of see. The printer is empty right now, so because I just cleared off stuff. So let's fire away. And check here. Off it goes. Look at that. Easy day. All right. Well, I'm now going to work on cleaning off support. I'll show you guys what these parts look like with support on them. I'm going to work on cleaning some of those off, and if there's any Q&A, I'll do that. But successful design tonight, kind of what I was going for. And Aaron, you had talked about the FISEC build plates failing more since I've been printing pretty heavily every single day on mine. I am now getting to the point where it is failing. I'm actually pulling off some of that powder coated bits off of there. This one didn't pull any. I haven't pulled it off in a little while. There was one print. I think I might have just tried to clean it off too early. So it ended up being where I pulled off some of the coating. So with support, there's support all on the inside. This is actually where the track goes in there. It prints like this, and then the underside of the spar, the strut here that kind of comes out at an angle there, because these go like this against the wall. There's support under that. I did think about making it not a even design, where that one side would have a big chamfer on it, and that would reduce the need for support, but it would also make it look non-symmetrical. So I like the symmetricalness of the design. I don't think symmetricalness is a word, but it's the one I use. So all I've been doing is I use my flush cutters to pull off the bulk of the support, and then I have some new razor blades that have this flat blade on there that I use to get underneath whatever support gets stuck on. This is PETG, so support is a little stickier than PLA is. Most PLA pops right off. Most of this PETG comes off. Prusa supports are pretty good, but there are a few instances where the since I use dense layers, sometimes the dense layers are still stuck on a little bit, and I use that flat knife to just pluck off that last little bit of dense layers that's still stuck to it. And it's been working out pretty well. Takes me a couple minutes per piece. I've done, I've got a little over, I think right around, what do I have in there? 20-ish? I think I've done so far, a little over 20 now. I think I've calculated that I need at least 24, but I think I'm going to do a few more rows of track, so I'm going to need a little more than that. But yeah, I just do the initial pluck off with the flush cutters. This one's already done, and I just set it to the side. I'll come back with the razor knife at the end, do it all at once. Oh, the Gizmo Dorks, the PEI from them. Yeah, that PEI is not bad. I have that on a couple build plates. Though I still, one of my favorite build services, aside from the powder-coated PEIs, is the Gecko Tech. That stuff is really good. They have Gecko Tech Hot and Gecko Tech Cold, depending on what you want to print with, but it works out quite well. It releases very nicely, kind of like PEI does. Energetic powder coated one. So the energetic one that I have, I mean I will say their powder coating is a little bit better. The only issue with theirs is that it is so much more textured than anything else. The 5-stick one's pretty textured compared to Prusa, but theirs is way more textured. And sometimes it kind of takes away from a model because the bottom divots are so pronounced, like so pronounced. Do I have one here that's, I think these were all on smooth PEI. I don't have one off of the Prusa powder coated PEI recently. But yeah, it's very, very rough. It's like glossy sandpaper is what I kind of like, but it's glossy like 60 grit, where the Prusa is like, 100, 110 grit. But those lower grits have a very, very big difference in them versus you going from like 220 to 400. Like you can't really tell the difference. But the lower grits you can tell. And that's how I think of those different powder coated PEI sheets as being. Oh, gotta do the inside too. And there's a lot of people actually, it became a big discussion, maybe like a year or two ago, was about the whole powder coated thing, on how some people are so against it, and they absolutely hate it. And there's some people that won't do anything but it. I use both smooth and textured PEI, and I find I like the textured more than smooth these days, other than like, unless I need something to have that glass smooth bottom, then I'll use a smooth PEI for, but the textured just holds so much better. And I have so many less failed prints with the textured PEI sheets than I do with the smooth PEI sheets. It's just so much more forgiving, which says a lot about 3D printing, how far it's come in the past 6 years I've been doing this. Almost, has it been 6 years? 5 years, something like that. I don't know. It's been a while. But, I mean, back in the day, you had to like make sure your machine was basically exact and then pray to the printing gods in order to get a good, successful print. But nowadays, man, I mean, anybody can just chuck on a model onto their slicer, hit print, and it'll pretty much stick most of the time now with auto bed leveling and all the other precautions that the reputable 3D printing companies have put into place. They make it pretty foolproof now, which is why I think a printer in every household is not only a must, but I think it's something that will come sooner rather than later. Especially when you got people like Creality making the Ender down like $100 at Micro Center, something goofy price like that. All right, well, it's printing. Oof. I need to get Hound loaded up with new filament because that's been printing pretty good so far as well. Done a few test prints off of it, done a few production prints off of it. Might end up throwing a hard nozzle at it so that I can print anything with it, but Megatron prints mostly PETG. I really don't have any issues with it. All these parts, I don't know if I said that before, all these are PETG. I debated on doing PLA, but I figured they would end up sagging sooner rather than this would. But these guys with 4 walls, 5 or 6 top, 5 or 6 bottom, I think is what the final I ended up going with. They're stout, and I don't think they'll have any issue holding up some Lego trains. Oh, shoot. Oh. Yeah, it's nice. I can get like 95% of the support out in about a minute and a half. Vince, how you doing? And then the last little bit I use the straight blade for, or that chisel blade, I should say. It just gets the rest out real quick and easy. I do have to keep taking breaks because this absolutely, just this part, the way it's designed, it just digs into my palm. Gotta take a break, man, because it just kills my hand, just tears it up. That's why I just do all of the bulk support first off all these. I'll take a break, then I'll come back in with a knife and get the last little bits out and call it a day. But I think if I can figure out this glove thing, I'll do one more run of these, and I should have enough. And hopefully in the next week, I'll go out and get that piece of plywood, which I'm going to pay way too much money for. But that's just how plywood is. And get this to making. I think I'll end up doing a video on my Lego channel when I finish this project. I think I'll end up doing, so I'm doing all the 3D printing and designing on here, but I think I'll do the actual like build on my Lego channel. Which I have not checked in like 2 weeks, and I think I scheduled videos on there and I totally forgot about them. So I need to look that up. I need to finish editing. I have one video finished for the 3D printing channel, and I have one video in progress. I need to finish it, but I need my wife to record it because it's about the kitchen drawer, things that I designed months ago. I didn't do a video about that at my last place when I did it. I thought that was a missed opportunity, so I'm going to do a video this time. You guys, if you watched that live stream when that happened, again, months ago, you watched when I designed it, but you never got to see the actual finished product and how we actually use it in our house. I think for people that are transient or don't want to spend money to buy some type of custom drawer setup for their kitchen drawers, I think 3D printing these boxes that I've made, I think that is something that's a fairly useful thing to do with your printer. And your time, because hey, I mean, you don't have to open a drawer and just everything comes sliding to the front. Everything's got its own space. So that's pretty cool. Makes the wife happy, so happy wife, happy life, right? How are you doing over there? Oh, you're doing the ring, okay. I'm trying to think, what's the next thing that I need to design or work on? I can't really put my finger on what the next thing needs to be or what we need to... What would make my life better if I designed? Kind of been debating on redoing our toothbrush holder because that doesn't work out so well. And I was using one off Thingiverse for a long time. I just reprinted it for here. I was thinking about designing my own for one of those. I love designing things that have a utility. You know, you got people out there that design really cool things like Weekster and them. Like they design really, really cool models, cool designs. But I bought my first printer for a specific purpose of fixing something. And I kind of prefer the ability to use my printer to fix problems. These problems are unique to my life, but they might not be unique to everybody. You know, I'll end up doing these files probably for free, unless I decide to do it for like, I don't know, $1 on Cults, just to try and make a little bit of money from it. But I'd like to think that these would be useful to someone else and not just me. I mean, I know my wife's not the only ones that uses, you know, kitchen gloves when they do the dishes and stuff, so it might be useful to somebody else. And there probably is a design, and that's the other thing is I probably could go on to Prusa Printers or Thingiverse and find a design for these right now, but that 100%, you know, it doesn't help me because I didn't design it, and I am trying to improve my design skills. I'm not trying to be the next Weekster or anything like that. I am trying just to be a better me. And I think having these little challenges for myself, I'm hoping every week or maybe every other week, I'm hoping that it will just help me improve my design skills. Because there's just so many people, I mean, a lot of Facebook groups that people just complain about designing some things because they don't even try. That's a shame. People should try more. And you can do a lot with the free Fusion license. You can just do a lot more with the paid license. And seeing as how I currently make $0 off of my Fusion license, I think if I'm able to turn this into a couple bucks, that might help out a little bit. I don't know if you're still there. Have you designed anything recently? Because I know you were on the prop kick for a while there. Started your own website and stuff for that. Oh man, because I do what 9 or 10 of these at a time, so yeah, it is time consuming to just do it. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos or Netflix while I'm cleaning off the supports. Put a little bit of Apex Legends between. Oh, sorry, Vince. No, I think it's still software. I need to, this week's been a bit busy. My daughter was in a play and I had 2 showings this weekend. So we were at that all weekend, helping her with those. And then I just have not made time to install just straight up OBS Studio to see if I can get rid of the spurts. I'll finish up the blaster. That'll be good. The thing I want to do is the skill that I also want to improve on, or even, I guess, not even improve on, but like actually start, is airbrushing. I really want to find some decent, not crazy detailed, but some decent first models to print. I think I'm going to put something in the Discord soon. I don't know when, but soon. And we do have our summer vacation coming up soon. We'll be back in the US. But I want to do something so that I can, maybe while the family's leaving before I am. Anyways, have people give me some suggestions, some things to print. I'm going to print them and then get out the airbrush and start practicing, you know, print 4 or 5 of something and then just start learning how to airbrush and just learning techniques and how to blend the colors well and just stuff like that. How to weather things. Because I've been debating on trying to figure out like a small droid to print, you know, about 8 or 10 inches tall, and then to, you know, paint that and then weather it with airbrush techniques. Been thinking about that for a while. Well, I got this one, 2 years ago. I've used it very little bit, mainly to print solid things, but I do want to get a little more skilled with it to see if I like it, because I bought it to try it, and then I never really tried it. I ended up getting more into designing things than painting things with COVID, so I need to try, otherwise I'm going to get rid of the airbrush kit because it's just taking up space and weight that I don't need to take up if I'm not actually going to use it except once in a millennium. Because they're just cheap enough to just keep a couple BD1. Oh, okay, that is a interesting one. I thought about Dio. I have the Dio Lego set here. I was thinking about that because what's his name, Mantis? Didn't he Mantis Hacks? Didn't he motorize a Dio? Which yeah, BD1's pretty good. I'm actually playing. I've actually never finished that Star Wars game. Was it Force Unleashed? What's that one called? I bought it moons ago. Oh, Fallen Order. That was it. Fallen Order. So I started Fallen Order a long time ago, and then I got bored, sidetracked. I don't know what happened. I never finished it. Well, of course, I don't have my old save data anymore, so I started it again a few days ago. I'm just playing it every couple days. Kind of just going through it again. But yes, BD1 is a fun droid. You know, as much as I would love to make a life-size BB or R2 unit, that ain't never going to happen. Yeah, I don't foresee that happening anytime soon, if ever. I just do not have the makerspace compatible with doing something like that. Oops. We are going to be rearranging some storage spaces in August, September. And it does make me think about doing making one of Ivan's CNCs, because the MP CNC is an interesting project, but it's not very stable at all. But Ivan's CNCs, I mean, he made them, then he milled aluminum, then he made aluminum and 3D printed ones. But he's milling aluminum with his 3D printed ones. I don't need to, but that alone tells me that his machines are way more powerful and practical than the MPCNC. Because all I need is some aluminum square tubing. I'm off the races for his setups. Definitely not going to go too big gunner, because I only want to do, I guess I don't want to do miniatures, but like, there was a couple cool things. Like there was a, looked like a witch's house 3-story dice tower. And it was about, I don't know, yay big. And it looked like something that would be fun to paint and weather and things like that. But yeah, it's just hard. I just need to bite the bullet, print some things, and start. Is what I need to do. I have the filaments. I have the time. I just need to allocate some of said time to actually working on airbrush skills, to working on that skill. Yeah, all of his CNCs have been great, especially his newest generation ones. He's making all the parts for, I mean, he's milling his own aluminum parts for like the tank that he's building right now and the turret that he's been working on. I haven't checked in the past week or so where he's at on the turret, but I know he had most of it done in the last video, which is very cool to see. It's nice how easy this comes out. Yeah, the nice thing about the aluminum parts is it's pretty cheap to just get some scrap aluminum, because Aaron's the one that turned me on to buying the scrap aluminum pieces that we bought for the $100 3D printing challenge a couple years ago. You know, I mean, it costs like, I don't know, a few dollars to get the build plates that we used for those. I think it was ended up being like a 2-pack as well. It was very cheap. Okay, last one of these. I don't know what I would CNC, but I think it would be fun to be able to make like signs and stuff. I don't know, I think I kind of just want to do it just for the ability to learn about it, just because I'm not skilled with subtractive manufacturing pieces of equipment, like tools. So I think it would just be something for me to learn. I've always wanted like a real laser, because having these little like El Cheapo laser sets, they're just junk. And the software is junk. It's just not a good learning space. I guess there's also the issue with like a lot of the DIY stuff is that you don't really have a great learning experience most of the time. because you're reliant on like freeware and stuff like that, or trying to learn how to program it yourself before you even know how to use the machine, which is where I kind of got on the lasers. All right, those are all cleaned. My box of supports that I've been accumulating for this, it's a pretty sizable amount right now. Oh, good gravy. Yeah, the mess of CNC is big. But I have my new Ryobi shop vac that I've been using a lot lately. It works fantastic. I love it, actually. It works really good. I think I'd be able to modify a hose to put on there to run that shop vac with it. And noise, yes, which is why I would be doing this in, we have a enclosed garage space that's currently used for something else, but we're going to turn that into storage space soon. And I think I'd be able to allocate a corner of that to be able to work on CNC stuff if I end up going that route. I don't know. It's kind of like a pipe dream to want to do something like that, but I don't know if it'll actually end up happening or not. Well, all those layers stuck down, no problem. It's on layer 2 now of that. It says it's going to take, what, 3 hours to do? 3 hours and 24 minutes. Bridge slicer's pretty accurate, so it'll be somewhere around there. I mean, there's no way I would put, if I got a CNC, there's no way I'd put it in this office. It just, the stuff would go everywhere and I'd never be able to get to it because it would get behind the containers or a printer or something, and it would just be an absolute pain to try and get back to clean again. I try really hard to do whatever I'm doing and then clean up shortly thereafter. I've just finished up some Lego projects recently. I had to fix a couple things, like my car tire pump, I don't remember the name of the connector, but the cigarette lighter power adapter got totally smashed. I had to buy a new one, bring it in, order it online, get the new one in, cut the cord, solder everything on, heat shrink it properly. So I ended up doing that. I think it was 2 nights ago I ended up doing that. Friday night I did that. So it was nice to be able to get my car pump back in the car in case I end up getting a flat or something and I need it on the road. But I've had that for like I've had that for a while, since I moved overseas, I think. So like 13, 14 years I've had that pump now, I guess. It's a trooper. All right. Well, we are at the hour mark. Unless there's any more questions, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night then. I'm going to work on letting this thing print, probably watch a show, finish cleaning up all the supports on these, which they are pretty good. Just need to get the last little bits of the dense layers that's left on these with PETG. Again, it's a little more sticky than PLA, but it's easy enough to use this chisel bit and just kind of go right underneath of it all. It comes up pretty quickly, and get this done. Hopefully get the wood, if I don't take a day off this week to take care of it, maybe next weekend, and then do that on the Lego channel, which would be fun. Well, Gunnar, you also, I mean, your house is like, you have this tiny studio house, and keeping that warm up there, I cannot imagine what that is like, because you get feet of snow overnight, and yeah, you'd have to build a little soundproof enclosure in your house somewhere in order to do that. Again, as you said, build your little dog house outside on the deck by your grill and do it that way. I think that'd be it. All right, well, yeah, I'm going to call it for the night then. So next week, I think I'm going to do Sunday again, because Saturday night I will be out camping. So my goal is this week to get OBS installed and working and get my profiles pumped over to there. Hopefully get rid of this randomness that my microphone gets randomly louder because, again, I said it last night, I was just sitting here talking to this and it just went up to red and came back down. I don't know what the deal is with it, but we'll get that sorted out. So thank you for those of you that came to hang out tonight. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys